Hello, this is Kurt Brown, also known as Saint Rambone, former U.S. Navy quartermaster, former FDIC banker, formerly in a stroke for 32 years. It recently came to my attention that my stepbrother may be, not my stepbrother, my half-brother may be Kurt Cobain. My memory came back on a discussion with my father, Bruce Brown, on this matter. First time I found out, I was like 11, 12, 13. My mother wasn't very happy. She wanted to kill my father, remove my testicles, and take me to church. She hurt my arm pulling me to go to church. She said I'd lost my map. Funny thing is, in 1983, I lost my map of the California coast that had a nuclear blast area with a square written on it on the chart table. Federal government has denied my claim for radiation. I just soon hook up with my brother's family. Maybe we could do a DNA test, see if my father was joshing me. See, what happened was in 1986 or 87, I was still in a stroke condition. I had a stroke condition in 1983 starting, and I did not know this. However, I was very forgetful. And I had a stroke diagnosed in 2004, a brain stroke we're talking about, brain stroke. Yeah, and 1986 or 87, my father said he heard my brother playing a song on the radio. And it was Kurt Cobain. And I thought, my father, he's just Joshua, what's going on here? He said, you should go to Seattle. I forgot the conversation until just recently I started remembering. He said, you should go to Seattle, see your brother. He's going places. And he said, you maybe should just go to Aberdeen. It's a far sight better. I remember my father coming back from Seattle when I was a child, telling my mother that, or that's when she found out that my father, Bruce Brown, had a child in Seattle, I suppose. She was very angry, though, and there was a man there with my father, though, when he came back from Seattle, and he had a hat that looked like a rabbit fur hat, and he had it in his pocket, and he took it out. And my dad told him to put it back in his pocket, and that was the end of that. It wasn't long after that my parents were divorced, naturally. There's nothing more heartbreaking for a woman than to find out that another woman has gotten pregnant by her husband. And in addition, when I found out I had a brother, I kind of laughed. My mother was very angry. She said, your father is a con man. And I was in the back seat. He said, you've got a brother, or a half-brother. I guess it's your half-brother. She started laughing. She said, I'm going to kill him. I thought she was going to kill me and detesticle me, and she made me go to church and pull my arm and hurt my arm so I could find my map again. Because my father was kind of an atheist till he started to die, right before he died, and he heard that about Kurt Cobain. He was so delighted, he said it's like divine revelations. My father looked a bit like one of the men in Kurt Cobain's videos, Teen Spirit, the guy with the mop. My father let alcohol, I believe, ruin his life, and I think he said working in finance wasn't smart, which I did too. But he ended up basically penniless and died in 1987, right when Kurt Cobain signed his first contract. The funny thing is, too, Frances Cobain, that's an interesting name. My father's sister's name was Frances. His sister was the one who basically picked him up and gave him money to get home when he got stranded in places like Seattle or Aberdeen. My father was related, or Bruce Brown was related to Truman Capote of Monroe County, Alabama, and he was also related to the woman who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. I've played some music myself. I was in a stroke condition. I haven't really practiced a lot. I was nothing like my half-brother, if he was my half-brother. I wasn't nearly that well-versed or experienced even in front of bands, but I had written some songs. Stone Cold in My Electric Chair was one. Big Easy Butthole's another. And I have one artsy video, Spitting Blood with St. Rambone. That's all at YouTube, under Kurt Brown St. Rambone. That last one, I was being beat down in my government, and Sheriff Jack Tillman was the sheriff of Mobile, Alabama. I had been put on exile and came back to try to rectify the situation, since he was the one that had me on the run from my native city when I tried to stop him from starving people in his jail. I've been persecuted very much. I love to have met Kurt Cobain. I was very depressed today. I'd written an article about this, so I thought I'd talk about it. I talked about possibly having a meeting with Courtney Love and David Geffen at the Vibrato Music and Restaurant Lounge in Beverly Glen, California, which is right next to Beverly Hills, called the Vibrato. It's very nice, very elegant, Vibrato. I was going to have also perhaps go to an athlete's pool to swim after the meal with Courtney Love and David Geffen. I was thinking about going to Bruce Jenner's pool. I'll have to bring my special earplugs for my warped melon. My melon was warped by radiation. My father handled munitions in the Alabama National Guard. Fortunately for the other Kurt, it was several years later, he probably wasn't as impaired as I was. Kurt Cobain does look like some of my siblings, or at least one of them. I kind of look like him a little bit. I have a little more heavy features. I'm also much older. I am about probably about 7 or 8 years older than Kurt Cobain. I'd like to do a DNA check with maybe Kurt Cobain's remains. I think he was killed. I believe this because a lot of people I have known of have been killed with their own guns. And in one instance, a man was actually shot through the window. He probably didn't own a gun because he was very anti-gun. The people I'm speaking of is my former co-journalist, Hunter S. Thompson, an acquaintance online, who I discussed an explosion that almost blew me up in Brahman, Blackwell, Oklahoma. And that was in 2004, December 7. I discussed that with Hunter S. Thompson, in addition to Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation activities, my prior employer. I believe they had psychological operations weapons going on there at that time, and likely other incidents. There was one man I saw fled for his life, a bank examiner, FDIC Roseville. He seemed to be fleeing for his life. He was sweating like it when he was leaving after he lost his job. And then there was a time where my boss was almost blown up. I always wondered after that in his subdivision in Rockland, California, where the fuel spilled, if he had been changed. This is straight out of the Divine Crypt, ladies and gentlemen. Could Kurt Brown be Kurt Cobain's half-brother? Inquiring minds will want to know. I'd be glad to submit a DNA check. Oh, let me see. What else is there? What else is there? I am highly trained in a lot of stuff. I know some music. I'm going to buy a wig. And I'm thinking about buying a place up in Aberdeen, Seattle, but it's so depressing to me. That's why I took my writings off at Mobile Audit Club about Kurt Cobain. I'd written quite a bit about him and my father over the past few days. It was so depressing. Thinking about the chart. When I was at sea in 1983, late 1983, a chart at sea, it showed a nuclear detonation area. One officer wanted me to take it off the chart table. He was being escorted out, I believe, or going off the bridge. He wanted me to take it. And then another one, I don't know if they came up and took it, but I think I was in a stroke condition because the next thing I remember was going back to port. I do remember someone taking the chart. They came up from the starboard side of the ship on the USS Reid, that's R-E-I-D, FFG 30. That was in 1983. I'm trying to get a class action suit on our behalf. I've done a statistical study. I am a statistician in addition to a geneticist and numerous other occupations. The chi-square test indicates with 100% probability and 20% variation that 100% of our men or their children were impacted significantly medically by the exposure to nuclear fallout from an undersea or oversea weapon, and also psychological operations weapons and new tools and weapons from that era. How much do I want now that my mind is back? I wish I could sing like Kurt. He could really sing. How much do I need so I don't bleed? Da, da, da. It's a dire fag melody. Sweet Carol, I do like money. I do need medical care. I have been hurt so many times. I've had 2 brain strokes. I've been injected forcibly twice. I've been in a nuclear dam detonation the government won't even acknowledge. By the way, Mr. Federal Government who denied my radiation claim, I'd like for you to tell it to my friends and family some things whenever you come to our family reunion, because I'm going to make sure I stick a stake through your damn heart for denying me my claim. That stake's going to be in your mind, guilt. Or perhaps I'll pray to God that you get some radiation as well. Because at this point, I ain't playing. When I came out of that stroke, boy, my mind changed. I've been nuts playing this game. I don't believe in violence. I believe in the 10 Commandments. I should have never gone in the military. I should have sang like my little brother. How much does it cost for me to twist my ass? I love you, baby. This is Kurt Brown, St. Brown on Bone, the Mobile Audit Club. Sipping water off the tart. Pew!